I don't need to prove that I know. I think I needed to prove it a little bit back then, but
Yeah.
also, and the thing you keep saying, because you keep mentioning about being safe, and what I've learned, and I've worked very deeply, retreats and all the work that I've done with people, that if we can create, I say we because it takes the collective
Yeah.
as the head, it takes more of me, but if we can create a safe place, you don't have to work on somebody. They will naturally free up what has to be let go.
Yeah.
It'll just happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of not only the sacred space that gets created, like especially for men and men's circles, but like I mean, just even going into a new thought center, there is that feeling of home. Like for me, it was many years ago at Mile High Church, and it was a feeling of being home and being safe and being like I'm like, oh wow. And I came from a Catholic background, so the last place I wanted to be was in a church.
Right,
But
right.
Mile High really was not like that. And I know other new thought centers aren't like that. To be able to show up and feel safe and feel engaged and
Mhm.
given the freedom, given the choice to choose, because that's ultimately it, right? We have the freedom, but it's the choice to choose. Like, hey, do I want to choose? We're always choosing unconsciously or consciously, but to have that conscious choice moment of, yeah, who would I be without this burden?
Mhm.
Who would
Mhm.
I be without this thing that weighs me down? For me, most of my life growing up dyslexic, there was this thing of not being enough. So I was never enough for my mom. My mom was a school teacher. She wanted me to do well. There was all this thing around, me doing well for her benefit so that she could feel all right. This was back in the day. So it's like, okay, if my kids are doing okay, I'm doing okay kind of mentality. And it
That
was a
never
lot.
ends, though, Eamon. That never ends.
Yeah, right.
My
Right.
eldest son is, I think he's 47. I still, if he's okay, I'm okay. When he's not okay,
Hmm.
it takes every part of me to not be codependent. So that never really goes away.
Yeah.
And
And
now I'm looking for their approval.
yeah.
It's an interesting turn of
Huh.
events that
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I appreciate that. And there is that responsibility on my part to say, that's fine. I accept the gifts that my mom gave me, maybe begrudgingly, just a smidge, but to take final ownership for it and fully own it and say,
Mhm.
you know what, it was my choice to feel less than. It was granted I was put in situations where that wasn't my neurodiversity skill set is to absorb and repeat stuff on command. That's just not in my wheelhouse. um, all of these things, but it took me going back through ministerial school to actually get the gifts of dyslexia and the gifts of neurodiversity, to be able to know, oh, yes, my mind is a creative mind. My mind just works differently, and to fully
Mhm.
accept myself and to love myself. Oh, that was so hard because I had definitely taken on that
Yeah.
critic that
Yeah.
my mom was to me. And I know her desire was from a place of wanting me to succeed. And so that's the place where I can forgive her, and then I had to forgive myself, which I know you've written a book on forgiveness as well. So it's a huge piece of doing that inner work is not only forgiving the other person and you know doing what you need to with this, whether you want them to be a part of your life or you don't, the thing depending on whatever it was, but ultimately coming back to ourselves and going, you know what, I forgive myself for putting myself in those positions. I forgive myself.
Well,
Like even forgive myself for setting myself up in a way, as a spirit to come in and be a part of this family and to know that that was what the agreement was with my mom.
well, and
And
the way I like to just summing up or summarize all of what you're saying is,
mm,
and this is absolutely, in all my forgiveness work, is that you forgive yourself for suffering.
mm, mm,
And I believe I said that during the talk.
mm.
Forgive yourself for believing them.
For believing it. Yeah.
I remember one time my father called me stupid, and
Oh,
I obviously believed him
yeah.
because I worked under that for a long time.
Yeah. Oh,
And it took me quite a while to get to a place and realize I'm not stupid. I might not be educated. I might not have the academia behind me that many do,
mm,
but I know what I'm doing.
yeah.
And I don't know what I'm doing. And writing the books didn't prove it. What it was accepting that and this is where I really go off on being New Thought.
Mm,
The presence of God in me is my intelligence.
mm,
I mean, my early years of intense, extended period of silence, meditation,
mm,
afforded me the ability to understand things that I didn't study, that
mm.
I didn't know. And so while I had that criticism from my father, I got to rise up from another place and say, "Oh, spirit as me,
Mm,
intelligence as
yeah.
me
Yeah.
knows that through me."
Mm,
And so I'm grateful because I've done things in my life that, if you really tie it together, I shouldn't have been able to do.
mm.
I it's and
Yeah.
so I'm thrilled. I'm actually thrilled. I'm thrilled that I'm doing this work. I'm thrilled that I'm trusted. I'm thrilled that I just handed in my third manuscript for a book that I was commissioned to write. Like, where did that woman come from?
All right.
Where did the pot smoking, tequila drinking, fun loving person become the author? When did that happen? And it happened through
That's
the
awesome.
pain. It
Yeah.
happened through the mistakes. It
Mm,
happened through
yeah.
doing things I wasn't supposed to do and then forgiving myself.
Yeah.
Because, and I also know that you're too young to know this, but anybody similar to my age, in the 80s, everything was about it's mom's fault.
Mm,
Oh my God, mothers got thrown under the bus
mm,
in the 80s like nothing else.
mm, mm,
And And so I don't blame my mother and I don't blame my father. I see their relationship in my healing and in the story of me. But if I'm staying in blame, I can't own it. If
mm,
I'm staying in blame, I'm victimizing myself,
mm. Yeah.
right? There's a difference between being a victim and victimizing. So I will never claim to be a victim. Was I victimized at some point in my life? Yeah, I was.
Mm,
And I still stand here telling you that I've embraced the holiness of my being, and I'm here to love. I'm here to love.